I don't think I could ever do it. So if people come out of a presentation and tell you how awesome you are, you better be worried. I wanted people to come out and say, is that all you do? That's it. Why? Because if they don't think they can do it, they're not going to do it. Does this make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
My first year in my business, I made $1,700. That's awesome. $1,700. My second year, I made $7,000. My third year, I made $14,000. I made $21,000, $22,000 over my first 3 years, which combined was $500 a month, which was nothing. Yet I just kept going because I had passion. I believed in what I was doing. So we ended up being at Downey Savings Bank for a year doing meetings. Then they found out we were doing finances and they kicked us out. Got by for a year. So then we went to the Days Inn Suites on 111, right across from Denny's, and we rented that room for a year and a half. And the way we did it was, because the room cost us money every month, every week, it cost us $40 a week. All of my leaders committed to $40 a month. I said, look, this isn't my meeting, this is your meeting. You want to do this, you're going to pitch in. I'm not paying for all this. And I had all my leaders pitch in. And a year and a half, we did it down at the hotel. Then from there, we went on and we moved to Cathedral City and worked at the Cathedral City Library for a year. Then after the Cathedral City Library, we moved into my living room for a year. And all I kept telling people is, one day we're going to get an office. One day we're going to get an office. We're going to have an unbelievable office. And they're like, yeah, now we're going to the bank. Now we're going to the hotel. When's the office coming? Saturday mornings, I used to have 28 people show up at my house at 8 o'clock in the morning for training for 2 hours. 8 o'clock in the morning, 28 people in my living room. Because I wanted to win. But then in my 5th year, my dream came true. And my business partner and I signed a lease on a 2,200 square foot office in Cathedral City. That office was 7 times larger than the 300 square foot house I started in. That was one of the greatest moments of my life in business, because it was kind of like I could look at all the naysayers and say, hey, I told you. Told you. Had that office for 10 years. It was a great place. 3 years later, which is my 7.5 year in business, I finally go over $100,000 in income. When you do that, they give you the Super Bowl ring. And that was my goal when I first came in here. I wanted to just wear this because I knew I was never going to be on a Super Bowl team, but I'd like to pretend like I was. And so that was my goal. 7.5 years to make $100,000. You know what the point of that is? Just keep going. Doesn't matter how long. The journey's going to take everybody a different time. You just can't ever give up. So at my ring presentation, which was done in my office in Ontario, my whole team was there. There was 40 of us. You know, with their little pom-poms, they were all excited and everything like that. And I don't know how George does a ring presentation because I've never seen one before. So as we're doing the presentation, he just says to me, he says, you know, I'm really proud of Jerry. All that he's overcome, told the story about when I stole his slides and everything like that. And then he says, but you know what, I want to really make this extra special. So can I call you in? Yes. Oh, 3 minutes? Okay. Boy didn't walk my mom and dad. And I had no idea that they were going to be there. And I remember him walking up to my, I still, after all these years, and I still have emotional telling this. I remember my dad going up and getting my ring, which was in a box. And George, he said, Saul, why don't you give your son the ring? And I remember my dad just sitting there like this, just staring at this thing. Couldn't say, no words came out of him. And so I finally just decided, I better just get up. And so I got up, and everyone started clapping, and I went and gave my dad a hug. And my dad just gave me that squeeze that only a dad can give. And all he said to me was, I'm so proud of you, son. And that made it all worth it to me. To see the man who was disowned me as a child tell me he was not proud of me. It was one of the greatest moments of my life, because it proved to me that when you believe in something and you work hard, and you never give up, you're going to win. And so I went on after that. We built a great business. I had over 150 licensed agents in my organization, which is the equivalent of 150 area managers all at once. I was the first person in our company's history to ever become a regional vice president out here. I was the first person to ever open an office. I was the first person to ever get the $100,000 ring. I won numerous awards, 6, 7 company trips, accolades, spoke all over the place. And I don't say that to impress upon you. I don't say that to impress you. I say that to impress upon you that none of that would have ever happened if I gave up. And I just want you to understand, as somebody who's been here for 19 years, and by the way, principle number 7 is never give up. I want you to understand that I understand the fight that you're fighting on a daily basis. It's not always easy, but it is worth it. And all I can leave you with is this, is that you have to have a dream that's big enough to push you through the challenges you're going to go through. Because you're going to have people that are going to quit. You're going to have people that are not going to show up. And I'm not, Michael, have you ever had anybody quit your business? Oh, okay. I just want to make sure. Because I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to be real with you. These things are going to happen. But one thing that I do know is that the only reason that I'm able to stand here and to share my story, which I hope in some way inspires somebody in here, is because I just never gave up. And I believe that if you keep learning and keep growing and coming to events like this and keep stretching yourself and keep just going out there like Casey, coming up with a great creative way to do business. That's great, Casey. I'm proud of you for that. Thinking outside the box. I'm telling you, if you do that and you never give up, you're going to win. Don't look at Barbara or Kathy or any of the RVPs and say, I cannot be as good as them, because what you forget is they were just like you when they got started. Barbara did not come into Arbonne as an executive national vice president. Barbara came into Arbonne never having seen network marketing. She came in just like every one of us in this room. She had no idea how to do this, but you know what? She learned, she grew, she went through the challenges, she never gave up, and that's why she has what she has today. I respect her because I know what that takes to do that. So don't look at people and think, oh, I could never be as good as them. Remember, they were once just like you. So my encouragement to you today is take these 7 principles, apply them to your business, and no matter what happens to you, just never give